Ahoy Zama, and welcome to Badii Talk Shorts, short, bite-sized episodes focused on bathing culture education. I'm Sarah Spoto, your host and the founder of the Swiss-inspired wellness brand Badii. At Badii Talk, we bring you spa and sauna recommendations so you can plan your next bathing adventure or get inspired to give sauna or bathing a try. We also feature interviews with experts and professionals in the bathing world and dive deep into your questions about bathing rituals and cultural experiences. Our name Badii, that's Badii, is inspired by the Swiss German word for bathing culture. We're American, but Badii Talk was born from a love of Switzerland. And today, we're talking Finnish saunas. Let's go. So what exactly does make a sauna a Finnish sauna? Originally, I expected there to be a sort of strict list of requirements on what makes a sauna Finnish or not. For example, like a special type of stove or certain materials. But in actuality, Finnish sauna is a culture. In fact, Finnish sauna culture is on the UNESCO list of intangible cultural heritage. And this is what UNESCO has to say about Finnish sauna culture. In a sauna, people cleanse their bodies and minds and embrace a sense of inner peace. Traditionally, the sauna has been considered a sacred space, a church of nature. At the heart of the experience lies lolu, the spirit or steam released by casting waters onto a stack of heated stones. Saunas come in many forms: electric, wood-heated, smoke, and infrared. Approaches vary too, with no hierarchy among them. Typically, a Finnish sauna is a heated room where folks can relax and cleanse and literally bathe. Bathing is a critical part of the experience. The sauna itself is a dry sauna in the way that us Americans typically think of a dry sauna. So that is to say, it's not a steam room or a steam shower where you have a lot of humidity and moisture as an intentional part of the experience. That said, calling it a dry sauna doesn't mean that it is bone dry. There's always going to be some humidity and moisture in a sauna. And throwing water on the stones is part of the Finnish sauna experience. And obviously, that generates humidity as well. In Finnish, sauna is actually pronounced sauna. So the first part rhyming with cow, sauna, not sauna as in English. At Badii Talk, you'll hear me use the pronunciation, the American English pronunciation of sauna. Um, that's because most of my audience uses that pronunciation. I grew up using that pronunciation, but I think it is, especially for this episode, important to know and respect the Finnish pronunciation. Temperatures in a Finnish sauna are usually between 70 degrees Celsius and 100 degrees Celsius. So that's 160 degrees Fahrenheit to 210 degrees Fahrenheit. For most Americans, I'd say that's pretty hot. We're used to steam rooms and infrared saunas at gyms and hotels, and they just typically don't run as hot. So Finnish saunas can be intense, but trust me, as soon as you start going to a Finnish sauna and experiencing a Finnish sauna, you really start to expect that level of heat in your sauna practice. So I do encourage you to give it a try. I don't even necessarily think you have to ease your way into it. I recently went to a Finnish sauna with a friend who had never done sauna before, and she jumped right into it and really embraced the heat. And I think there is something to that kind of way that you just jump into that extreme heat in a Finnish sauna. So I recommend that, but of course you can work your way up if you're more comfortable. So when I was doing this research, I expected there to be guidelines or requirements around what type of stove and materials can be used in a Finnish sauna, but that really isn't the case. Finnish sauna is a culture and it's a way of experiencing and living sauna. And that can mean many different stoves and material types depending on what's available to you. And in fact, I get the sense that that's actually the heart of it all. It's not about strict guidelines to follow, but about incorporating sauna into your everyday life. Sauna is a regular part of life in Finland, and nearly every household has their own sauna. It's also a family affair. When I visited Helsinki, I saw children as young as 3 years old using the sauna with their family members. There's a 3-year-old girl in one of the saunas, and her mom brought in this bowl of water for her to play in. And I've seen that before in pictures of Finnish saunas and things like that as well. Saunas are quite literally everywhere in Finland. There are 3.3 million saunas in a country of 5.5 million inhabitants. And typically, folks in Finland, they use the sauna naked, although it is becoming more common to wear bathing suits in the sauna, especially in co-ed public saunas. I have a separate episode dedicated to reflections and cultural observations on bathing naked. And my guest and I describe a Finnish sauna we visited in Helsinki. Check that out if you want more descriptions on a public sauna experience in Finland. So I'd also like to share some Finnish sauna etiquette I learned on that trip to Helsinki. This applies to the public sauna experience. So that's where you're typically sharing a sauna with strangers. The proper etiquette is to shower before your sauna experience. So you wash off any lotion or oil so that you're entering the space clean. That said, it's also best to dry off before entering the sauna. So um, take your shower, but then dry off and then enter the sauna for the best experience. Additionally, when performing lolu, that's adding water to the stones to create steam, I was told that it's polite to ask permission from the other sauna goers first. Although I'll be honest, I saw Finnish sauna goers ignore this etiquette completely, but I still like to follow it in case someone is uncomfortable with the steam. The act of asking, I think, shows that you're considering other people's comfort in the space. And to me, that really creates a sense of community. There isn't a set time for how long you should spend in the sauna. So listen to your body and do what's comfortable for you. Sauna is not a competition. And unlike in the US, where the narrative could sometimes be about pushing yourself to the limit, you know, challenging yourself to the extreme. My experience in Finland is that people pay attention to their bodies and their limits. So some days you'll be more or less affected by the heat, and that's okay. Switching benches, so in other words, going from a higher to a lower bench or vice versa, is common practice in the sauna, and it allows you to control the intensity of the experience. So my experience is that people don't judge you for needing a less intense experience. So do what feels good. If you are bold and you're feeling good and you start off on the high seat, near the stove and it's really hot and then it becomes too intense and you want to move down, do it. That's part of the sauna experience is managing that heat intensity. It's okay to talk in public saunas unless instructed otherwise. So I've noticed that some saunas will be very clear about the rules about speaking, which you should absolutely respect. For some, sauna is a time for quiet reflection, and for others, it's a way to engage in conversations with strangers and make new connections. And I love both experiences. Sometimes I just want to go in a sauna and not talk to anyone and like zen out. And then sometimes I'm going there to make connections or, going with a friend and, want to have a conversation. Some of the best conversations I think can be had in the sauna, but obviously respect the rules and requirements of that specific public sauna. Then when you're done with your session, finish off with a shower and make sure there's time to relax. So enjoy that real post sauna feeling and don't rush to the next activity. I'm again saying this to my American audience because I think sometimes sauna is framed as something to help with our productivity or our performance. But in Finnish culture, and I notice this in other European countries too, they really take that time after sauna to relax and get those benefits and realize those benefits before moving on to something else in their day. You can also use this time to hydrate. You should be hydrating actually during and after as well. And I've heard mixed things on whether you should take water bottles into the sauna or not. I've heard that in Finland, you're not supposed to bring any sort of like plastic or other materials into the sauna. But actually, I did see Finnish folks take water bottles in some public saunas. So I think it really depends on the context. regardless, even if you can't bring the water bottle in, if you need to take a moment to drink water, step out and do it. Again, this isn't about pushing yourself to an extreme where you feel unwell. So make sure you're hydrating throughout the process. Also, saunas are spiritual places. Have you ever seen a sauna elf? So you might have seen a little guy resting on the sauna stoves, the sauna stones. These are sauna elves or sauna tantu or sauna tantu, I should say. And they're protectors of the sauna and also enforce proper etiquette. Historically, some Finnish women have given birth in sauna. So it was this place that is quite sacred, and sterile, and you can imagine how important a sense of protection is in that space. I would really love to do an episode diving deep into Finnish sauna folklore. There is so much, it is so rich. So please comment if this is something you'd like to hear more about. Okay, and so if you want to learn more about Finnish sauna, we recommend the following materials. These are also my sources for today's episode. You have UNESCO.org. They have some good information. I quoted some of it in the episode, but dig deeper if that interests you. There's also a website called finlandnaturally.com. They have some really interesting pieces of material on Finnish culture, public saunas, and things like that. And I think it's a great site as a place to start if you're curious about Finnish culture. I also recommend a book called Nordic Magic by Meri Mort, especially if you want to gain a deeper understanding of the spiritual side of Finnish culture and the relationship between that and the environment and bathing and sauna. Another book I recommend is called The Book of Nordic Self-Care by Elisabeth Carlsson. So this was actually a recommendation from me when I was in a Finnish sauna in Edinburgh, Scotland. One woman in the sauna, it was her first time doing sauna, and she was doing Finnish sauna. So again, do it, be bold, lean in, go for that high heat for your first time. I think you won't regret it. And she said she was exposed to sauna through this book. And so I bought it, and I do think it breaks down Nordic self-care practices in a really approachable way, and obviously sauna is a big piece of that. I also have another book I picked up in Helsinki called Sauna. It's by Cozy Publishing, and it has these absolutely beautiful photographs that just give you a real sense of sauna culture in Finland, and a lot of good information on rituals and practices as well. There are, of course, lots of other publications out there, but I think those are great places to start, and they're really beautiful books too. So I think the imagery kind of helps you get a sense of the experience and the culture. And then I also recommend going and experiencing a Finnish sauna for yourself. So more mobile saunas these days are in the Finnish style. They're popping up in the US and the UK. Again, there aren't that strict list of requirements to know if it's Finnish or not, but I think you can use what I talked about in today's episode to understand if the sauna you're experiencing has those Finnish elements to it in an authentic way. But get out there, try those mobile saunas, especially because they're usually integrated in nature in a really beautiful way, and that's another wonderful part of the Finnish sauna experience. So thank you for listening to today's Badii Short. This is our first one. Don't forget to subscribe on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. I really love hearing from you all. So please comment with any thoughts or suggestions. For example, what do you want to hear next on Badii Talk Shorts? So Badii and Badii Talks, we are a one-person operation at the moment. It's just me. I quit my corporate job and I'm following this passion I have for bathing. So, your engagement and your support really means everything and makes this possible for me and for our Badii community. You can follow us on Instagram at badii.life. That's BADII.LIFE, and visit our website at badii.life, where you can subscribe to our Badii Talk newsletter. Cheers.